All right, so we're back in the shop again, and I briefly just want to discuss some of the parts and components that we use when we perform service and repair work to our motorcycles here at Last Frontier. And some of the important parts or part of this is that it's one thing to ride a motorcycle and to occasionally do maintenance and occasionally take a look at it and occasionally check your tire pressures. What I think most people don't realize is that when you ride a motorcycle, an ADV bike in Alaska, the conditions that the motorcycle experiences while you're riding it are very demanding in this state. So it's important that the motorcycles are carefully maintained and serviced regularly. And this isn't just for the client experience, it's also for the motorcycle's longevity and also safety. Because again, in the state of Alaska, the motorcycles go through a lot as you're riding them. And I service several travelers, mainly ADV bikes during the summer, of people that come from the lower 48 and really across the world. And that's always a great experience to communicate with those people and learn about their stories. But it's important to me as somebody performing maintenance that I use quality product when I repair a motorcycle. So I have some of those items in front of me, and we use these regularly. Okay, so some of the examples I just briefly want to go through, I'll just start over here. This is a motorcycle inner tube. Okay, it's not a big deal. You probably don't think much of an inner tube when it goes into a tire. A typical inner tube, when you throw it into a dirt bike, is a 2mm walled inner tube, and that's going to run you $12 to $15 at a normal dealership. Okay, this is a Michelin heavy-duty 4mm inner tube. That's a rear for a tubed wheel. Okay, it's a $45 inner tube, and the reason why we use it is so your probability of having a pinch flat or a puncture flat or something of that nature while you're on your motorcycle adventure decreases significantly. Okay, that's important to us, and I would imagine that's important to you. And honestly, you probably wouldn't even think of that, but it's something that we think about at Last Frontier. Okay, another thing that's commonly overlooked when people ride from somewhere to Alaska is the quality of the chain. Okay, now there's a huge scale of quality when it comes to drive chain. You can buy a $40 chain on Amazon. You can buy a $240 chain from a reputable manufacturer, okay? We use reputable parts in this shop, all right? Again, it's not a cost-saving thing for us. It's we need this chain to perform, and we need the most longevity out of it that we can draw from it. Because don't kid yourself. We're going to inspect the bikes. You're going to hopefully inspect the bike before you swing a leg over it every morning. We don't want to be spending our time adjusting and lubing chains every night. We want to be spending our time with you, talking about your experience for the day, and honestly, having Glenn's fine chef-curated meals. Like, that's what I want to do when I get into camp. I don't really want to be turning wrenches all night after a full day of riding. That's just me, okay? That probability of success increases when we use quality product, okay? Up front, we have a pair of Dunlop Trail Max Missions, okay? I've been mounting tires for, relatively speaking, a long time for my age. And been up here in Alaska for going on 4 years now. Been doing this every summer for ADV riders. This is what they want, okay? This is the palette of tires that I decide to stock in my shop. A Dunlop Trail Max Mission, I would say 8 or 9 out of 10 riders that are doing this long distance, they want to ride on a Dunlop Trail Max Mission if you can only have one tire. Bang for the buck, longevity, grip, there are better options. You can throw a knobby on it, but if you're going in gravel or whatnot. But for an all-around budget-friendly tire from a reputable tire manufacturer, Dunlop Trail Max Mission is a pretty good, pretty safe bet, okay? Another commonly overlooked item that I briefly want to discuss is forks, or our fork seals, okay? It's a very, very common thing to have a fork seal start leaking or passing oil when you ride up here in Alaska. The bike does several thousand miles from wherever its origin is to get to the state, and then it is increasingly difficult, not difficult, but challenging of a ride to get around the state. You go places like Prudhoe Bay. Okay, the road's rough, it's very dirty. After all that wear and tear on the motorcycle getting to Alaska, now it's going down a really, really rough road, fork seals start leaking, okay? I could throw $20 fork seals into a machine. No problem, I can do it. I can rebuild forks with a cheap seal. I can also do it with an OEM seal. Or I could put a premium quality fork oil seal in it, like an SKF seal, that is commonly viewed as the best fork seal that you can buy for a motorcycle. And it will have the longevity of honestly probably double what some other manufacturers would be, okay? I don't want you experiencing a leaky fork. Does it happen? Of course it happens. Do I control that? Unfortunately not. But again, my job is to provide you the highest probability of a well-functioning machine when you spend your money to come here and enjoy an Alaska motorcycle adventure with us. Fork oil. I can use run-of-the-mill fork oil. I decide to use Zero Fade Racing fork oil when I rebuild forks, okay? There are other good brands, Bel-Ray, Motul, they all make good fork oil. Racetech makes great stuff. Again, I could use cheap stuff, I could use better stuff. We choose to use better quality products here in the shop, okay? Bel-Ray grease, synthetic oil, you name it, we run it.